Now, you may be surprised to hear about pharmacists working from home, but it's not as uncommon as you think. On a work from home day, usually I wake up around 6:30, and then I multitask a few things. I get myself ready, I get the kids ready for school, and I also change the baby. Today, the girls were not particularly cooperative and kind of not wanting to get ready, but that's the day in the life, and you just never know what you're gonna get. Now, after my husband and the kids leave for the school run, that's when I sit down to have my breakfast. Usually my husband preps the coffee and breakfast, and today we have this hash brown, prosciutto, and poached egg situation. It was pretty good. By 8 o'clock, our babysitter gets here, and that's when I get to start work. I get to work from home about 20% of the time. The other 80% of the time, I'm a cardiology pharmacist in the hospital, and I'm grateful for the work from home days because it gives me a little bit more flexibility, and I love the commute from my room to this other room. I'm just kind of logging in and getting set up for the day. Obviously, my role as an equity, inclusion, and diversity person as 0.2 FTE working from home, that is probably not as common, but I actually know a few friends who verify orders at home. They work for a hospital, and think about it, a lot of what a pharmacist does when verifying orders is really looking up information, accessing the electronic health record. If there's questions, they can either message through the electronic health record system or the hospital communication system, or they can just call. And so really, majority of that work could be done off-site. And so yeah, I have a few friends that work like 100% remotely in that capacity. There's also pharmacists who work with pharmaceutical companies, and I have a friend who does that. I think he maybe has meetings once in a while. Sometimes he hosts educational dinners, but for the most part, he's at home as well, 100% of the time. Now, within my institution, it's more common to have like a hybrid system, at least for like inpatient pharmacists who are usually in the hospital. So some examples beyond my role would be like residency leadership. They get some time that is at home, kind of offline protected time to help catch up on all the kind of managerial operational duties of managing a residency program. There are education specialists who help with the onboarding, the competencies, some of the education requirements type stuff. The quality assurance team, I think, is remote. As far as more clinical folks, the antimicrobial stewardship people are also usually remote because they're, again, reviewing charts and making recommendations, sending messages. That's not something that you need to be like bedside for. And so they're mostly hybrid people. And then lastly, research people. So obviously there's research support pharmacists where there's clinical research done by physicians or other teams or PhDs. The pharmacists play a more supportive role, but then there are also pharmacists who lead their own research and they get internal or external grants that help pay for time for them to be away from their clinical tasks. I have a good friend who is, I want to say, like 80% at home. I think it's funded by NIH. I could be completely butchering it. You know what? Actually, if you're interested in hearing more about these non-traditional work-from-home pharmacist roles, maybe I can go interview my friends and get the actual information from them. So leave me a comment if that's something that interests you. But anyway, as you can see, there's like a huge variety of what a pharmacist can do. If you're fresh out of school and new to the career though, I don't think many of these hybrid roles are going to be available for you. But this is something you can work towards, and honestly, I love the mix of being at home sometimes. My home days are actually more productive because I don't have that many interruptions. I'm just focused on projects, whereas when I'm at work, I have coworkers, they come to chat, and I enjoy that part. It's nice to be at work and see friends and bond over whatever and just hang out. Having a little bit of both is a perfect mix. The plan for today is I need to update a slide set. We presented a set of recommendations regarding hiring and recruitment to leadership last month, and we are invited to speak to a smaller group kind of as a workshop. So a lot of the slides and information should be the same, but I'm just gonna look through and kind of condense it into like a 15-minute segment. That's part one. Part two is I have to sit on an interview panel, put on a blazer and my name tag just for this portion of being on a virtual meeting. Let me know in the comments if you do the same thing, where you wear pretty comfortable clothes for most of the day and just kind of look more presentable for the camera. The other thing I have to do today is to review a draft written by a couple of pharmacy students. They were pharmacy interns with us during the summertime. They worked on a project on medical interpreter usage amongst pharmacists at our institution. They were accepted at the ASHP mid-year conference for a poster. So now, as they are drafting the language for the poster, I am serving kind of as a preceptor / mentor and providing feedback for that. This part I enjoy. I think it's so cool to work with learners and help them out where I can. And me personally, I also gain a lot from just their energy and their new perspectives. So I enjoy it, but I also feel like we do a lot of precepting throughout the year. So sometimes I do feel burnt out too. So I think I enjoy precepting more on a project level, not on a day-to-day clinical rotation. And also for clinical rotations, you have to fill out Pharm Academic, which is not fun. One nice thing about working from home is the flexibility with lunch. So today we actually have a bunch of leftovers we need to use up, and I'm kind of making a sort of enchilada casserole. It's absolutely blasphemous, but it was really easy to make and it tastes really good, so it is what it is, guys. And then I need some more coffee, of course, and then it's back to work. The last part of my day, at least for what I'm planning to do, is really daunting. I'm kind of just dragging my feet a little bit, but I'm compiling a set of best practices, kind of like an answer key that different hiring managers can take and implement easily, or at least like use this as a guide as they adapt it to their site and to their practices, which is a fantastic idea, and we already have the recommendations for that. Really is just transferring the recommendations on like a PDF and making it readable, making it user-friendly, you know, building out what a scoring rubric could look like in an ideal scenario or what we're recommending. It's not hard to make a draft for the purpose of further discussing with my team. And this is my weakness. It doesn't feel as creative and exciting. Just need to focus and push through. It'll be done today, or at least I'll get a start on it today. I don't know if I'll finish, because I'm sure as I start going, I'll get very perfectionist and get stuck on a font, or I don't even know. See, this is the stuff I tell myself. It's 3 o'clock and our nanny goes to get the kids and the baby wakes up from his nap, and that's when I usually take a break. I didn't film any of my evening because between 4 to 8 is purely family time. We have dinner, we play, we read books, take a bath, etc. And then after everyone goes to bed, I clean up the kitchen and the dinner table. My husband's at work tonight, so I am solo parenting for now. Usually this goes a lot faster when he's around helping with the cleanup. On some days, I actually just wrap up at 3 if my work is done and I'm waiting for someone else's input. But today, I still actually have a few things left to finish. I guess that's the other cool thing about working from home. I get to flex my time to match the project timelines and to accommodate the life of being a parent and just with all my other entrepreneurial endeavors. The downside, of course, is that I could just keep going and going because the line between life and work is really blurred, and this is something I still have to keep track of with a time app just to make sure I'm still keeping a balance. I hope this was interesting to you, whether you're a healthcare worker that just didn't know what pharmacists do. I guess general public, not a whole lot of people understand what pharmacists do. Or if you're a pharmacy student or kind of newer in your career and you're thinking about where you'd like to go, feel free to leave me any comments about being a pharmacist or pharmacizing. It's not a topic that I plan to talk about very frequently on this channel. I think there are many things that interest me outside of work, but I also feel like this is such a misunderstood profession and there aren't very many videos like this on YouTube. So I thought, why not add my take and share a little bit about what I do? Let me know if you'd be interested in other videos like this one. I have a few friends that have really interesting jobs and they also work from home as pharmacists. I also can show you what I do on a clinical day, and I think that might be a little bit more applicable to someone who is looking for a specialist clinical position. Anyway, thanks for watching. I gotta get back to work. Let me know if you have any questions and I will talk to you next time.